wasn't easy. You were 31st after lap 3. Tell us about how you came back from that.
I guess I might as well just start in the back, not worry about wherever we qualify, whether it's up front or in the back. So, you know, we had the same thing happen to us here last fall. We knocked the tail panel off everything else, and we were really fast. And today, kind of the same thing, I guess. You know, I thought we were going to be faster than what we were. It just never, the speed just never showed up. So obviously there at the end, we got up towards the front, we got the lead, and we were leading, and then I was just too loose to kind of hold on to it, and those guys got by us. And then, you know, we ran some laps there, started to run them back down a little bit in the longer run, just inch by inch, but then that caution came out and, you know, set us up for that final pit stop, and we stayed out.
What did you think of Adam's call? I mean, obviously that was pretty much the key of the win, right?
It was. You know, I felt like we've seen this game kind of play out here a few times either way. You know, I've seen guys stay out and lose. I've seen guys stay out and win. So I just felt like a better opportunity for us was to just be out front, stay up there, knowing that the tires had worn off a little bit, knowing that our car was a better long-run car that we could hopefully drive away from those behind us.
You had your brother running you down there toward the end, and he told us that he would have wrecked you if he'd have gotten to you. What was that battle like with Kurt?
You can't tell people that, because then they're going to do the same thing back to you, whether or not you did it or not, you know? So he's an idiot. But, no, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. I certainly would have wished that he wouldn't have. He won't wreck me. But, you know, they're racing for a win. We've already gotten a couple wins. So anything can happen with guys that are in desperation like that. But it's a little early in the season to go that way.
So far this season, Kyle, it's been Gibbs and Penske, and you had quite the battle with Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski for the lead there. Yeah, we certainly did. You know, the Penske cars are fast. They were fast again here this weekend, and I don't know what it is, man. They're just quick. They have that short-run speed. They got that burst, and they're able to put it out there and put it in the wind for a long time. And, you know, their stuff doesn't fall off right away. It's not a short-run car. It's a mid-run car that then, you know, we kind of start to flip-flop. But by the time you get there and with this package and things like that, it makes it for a little bit tougher to pass. How did you think that the track raced today? I know you had some concerns about aerodynamics and the role they play coming into it. It seemed like a lot of guys had problems. Was it as tough as you expected? Yeah, I mean, it was tough. It was challenging. Certainly aero came into play a few times there. I had times where I was following behind guys and I got loose. I got in the wall trying to chase a couple guys down. And even when I was trying to stay in front of the 14 car, I got in the wall, you know. So just tough day with pushing hard and getting to that limit and over pushing that limit, and the tires kind of slipping on the racetrack. It was a little slicker out there than I expected it to be, but lap times were probably also faster than it typically is here as well, so that could go either way. But the bottom wore out about the last 150 laps. The bottom wasn't there much anymore, so you could still kind of maintain time down there, but you couldn't make up any time down there. You feel like right now you guys are the championship favorite? I mean, it's early, but a lot can happen, I guess. No, I don't think we're the championship favorite. I think any of the two Penske guys right now are the championship favorites. They certainly just have the speed, and they showed us what short-run speed looked like last year at Homestead. So that's kind of what I see right now. We got some work to do. All right, well, he might not have had the necessary winning speed today, but he got the win. Kyle Busch in victory lane, third time this year.
We appreciate Nate Ryan heading up to Bristol and getting that interview with Kyle Busch. And, guys, the standings, I mean, you see it, 3 wins for Kyle Busch. His teammate Denny Hamlin with 2, as well as Brad Keselowski. And those playoff points are starting to stack up already. While there was no guarantees, we saw last year how valuable they can be in the playoffs if you have issues in any of the rounds.
Big advantage right now. This early in the year, he has 19. The next guy has 12. I mean, he'll keep stacking those up, and it does indeed matter.
Yeah, I feel like it was an honest interview from Kyle in victory lane, talking about the Penske cars. You know, he knows that when they go to Homestead, that short-run speed is going to be important. He knows that's something that you have to work on all year long. And he also knows he was not the dominant car at Bristol, and the Penske cars were the better race cars. So I feel like I have to agree with him on that. I think the Penske cars are the favorites right now. They were the favorites, and they were fast, but that brings us to the turning point. The turning point of the race was the yellow. With about 30 laps to go, the caution came onto the racetrack, and the decision to pit or not to pit, that ended up deciding who was the winner. The yellow came out because the 42 of Kyle Larson got up into the wall, and that brought the caution out. And Jeff, I love this because it's an easy decision. Should you come or shouldn't you, until you hear what everybody else does, right? The toughest position in my mind is the leader. They have the least amount of information, and at this time, it was the 2 Penske cars running 1-2.
Yeah, leader with the fastest car. Like, you're going to have to do something different to beat them. You can see right here, lead lap cars at Bristol prior to the final stops. It's 16 cars in the lead lap, and that makes that decision even that much more difficult.
Yeah, and they had about 30 laps on their tires. Some had a little bit more, maybe 40 laps on their tires. So the toughest position is the leader. But what I want the fan to understand is every position behind that, you get more and more information. So no matter what Joey Logano does, that's going to influence Brad Keselowski. That's going to influence Kyle Busch. I know Adam Stevens made it sound like, well, the decision was easy. I was going to stay out. I wonder
if the Penske cars stay out, if he doesn't pit. You almost flip it, right? You do the opposite of whatever else is going to do.
If I'm just wanting to be on the outside on a restart. If I can be the leader, great. If I have to be second on the inside or even third, I don't want to restart there because I can't win the race from there. I'm staying out to win the race. I can't win the race from the inside or third place. I need to be fourth, if not leading the race. And I think that if you're sitting behind the two Penske cars, that's what you're thinking about.
Right.
So, I mean, if I'm the crew chief of the 22, though, I got to look at Kyle Busch and go, I can't give this guy
So that's the problem I have, right? So I believe the crew chief of the 22 made a mistake, not only because you can't give Kyle Busch the chance, but let's go back to Saturday. You and I are up there. We watched the Xfinity race, and I was shocked to see this work. When the 19 of Brandon Jones, right here, the leaders come under the last pit stop. At this point, the 20, the 7, unfortunately for you, was a good car. He had a mechanical issue. That gave the 20 probably the best car on the racetrack. Well, the 19 stays out. Well, I'm sitting here watching saying the 19's going to get smoked on this restart. Man, was I wrong. He held it up, the lead, for 8 or 10 laps, no problem on old tires.
Yeah, he drove away from those guys the first 4 or 5 laps. And that right there, to me, said, okay, late in the race tomorrow, you're going to see guys be able to stay out.
Yeah, so if I am Todd Gordon, the crew chief of the 22, I don't come to pit road. I know it's easy on Monday, but I would rather lose. We already heard they had short run speed. I would give it to the Penske cars to try to go ahead and sprint. The 2 takes 2 tires. He had all his issues, which we already covered about where to line up. The 22 took 4 tires, and in the end, didn't really make much headway at all.
Yeah, I think the tires themselves, okay, if you know, Kyle Busch is sitting there with scuff and has the comfort of those tires being able to fire off. You'll see on the restart, a little bit of a mess back there where the 22 is with Keselowski lining up in the wrong position, but the 22 is on stickers, and those may not fire off quite as well in traffic. And so it's going to take 8 or 10 laps for those things to start to really get the grip that they need for him to be able to go up there and drive it and take the lead. You see him, he's nowhere in the position here, nowhere in the shot as we're winding down these final laps.
Yeah, what I think Todd Gordon was thinking is that he was going to restart in maybe the first 2 rows, at worst the 3rd row, because we've seen it. I get so frustrated with teams, right? How many times I'm right in the booth and I'm hitting you like, why does no one stay out? What is the deal? And finally, though, Bravo to Kurt Busch's team for staying out. Clint Boyle, Paul Menard was up there. Bravo to these crew chiefs to say, you know what? This has been a battle for 480 laps. I'm just going to give my driver a little bit of a head start to the front. So there was a lot of great decisions to stay on the racetrack. Unfortunately, for those great decisions, that's what hurts, right? I mean, Joey Logano's choice, it's easy to say now, was the wrong one. If everyone pits but the 18, we're sitting here to saying, oh, Joey Logano, that was a genius move. Come to pair. Same decision, right? It's so just dependent on what other guys are doing. That's what used to make my job so difficult is, what do we need? But then what does everybody else need? And what I used to do, though, is you are an offensive driver. You would never love to be on defense. We were never very successful on defense. I go back to the last race we won at Martinsville. We come and got tires. I was scared to death that it was the wrong call, but I thought to myself, if we're going to do it, we're going to tear the front bumper off, not the rear bumper. We're going to be going forward. And you moved to Tony Stewart and went, and tires mattered that day. So I see where the 22 was thinking, but just Bristol's a lot different than Martinsville.
Well, Todd Gordon kind of said the same thing. He said after the race, actually today, he said that he thinks Joey's a very aggressive driver. You can put new tires on him, he can go. He didn't think he was going to start as far back. And one thing he mentioned is that he watched Denny Hamlin earlier in the race, you know, when he didn't put on tires and kind of went to the back, it didn't work. So he had watched that rather than you and I were, and we were talking about what happened on Saturday.
I watched Ty Dillon in that same race, right?
So listen, you don't know what the guys behind you are going to do. I do know this. You had the 6 and the 14 that had pitted the caution before. So they weren't going to pit. Right. They weren't going to pit. So you knew the best case scenario, you were going to start probably in the 3rd row. Can you win from the 3rd row? You know, with new tires, it gets hard to do with only a few laps left at Bristol.
Well, one thing we know is the worst place to be is unfortunately the leader. Yes. Because that is the hardest decision there is. But the last thing you want to do is race against 2 Busch brothers at Bristol. Not only are they good at the racetrack, but I had to laugh. I mean, this right here, this is pretty consistent right here. I'm picking on them. Listen, I think it's any winner at Bristol, but it's been these 2 here recently. They got that good Bristol hair.
Hey, NASCAR fans. Thanks for checking out the NBC Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe below for the latest NASCAR news, race highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.